Greetings, my friends. Kyle McCoy here, ready for another round of Shop Talk. Guys, as you may know, the next episode of the Pixel Art Show is episode 100. I'm very excited to reveal the project. I have intentionally not released any photos. I've been trying to keep it under wraps to keep it a surprise for you guys. The only people that know what it is are my Patreon investors. They're always in the loops on my little secrets and upcoming works. The video is almost done, but I'll tell you one thing to tide you over. The project is 6 feet long. Yeah. With that, let's get to your questions. I know a lot of people interested in perler bead art grew up with the 8-bit and 16-bit games. I always like to hear what games inspired people to start crafting with beads. Great question. Some of my very favorite retro games were games that I first tackled in this craft, like Donkey Kong, Super Mario Bros., Zelda, Punch-Out!, all games that I've talked about on Pixel Art Show before. But there are still so many games I have yet to pay tribute to. I'm talking about DuckTales, Rampage, Star Fox, Super Mario World, a bunch of Ninja Turtle games. There was that Batman game I used to play all the time, Darkwing Duck, Ninja Gaiden. Man, I can't believe I've done 100 episodes and there's still so much left to pay tribute to. I can't wait to get there. Would you include how you get the bead measurement to be congruent with the canvas size? Absolutely. In my experience, 1 inch is basically 5 beads. Well, it's actually slightly more than 5 beads. So I add 1 bead for every 30 beads, which is about 6 inches. Kinda like how we add a leap day every 4 years to balance our calendars, I add 1 bead every 30 beads to get accurate length. For example, 12 inches would be 62 beads. In fact, I'll post all my measurements for my canvases I use right here. Go ahead, hit that pause button and write these down. My question is, have you ever done the masking tape method? A couple of times. I'm not really a fan. I know some people swear by it, and you should always use whatever methods work best for you. I found the tape method pretty handy when it came to attaching beads to a piece that had already been ironed a bit. Check out my Tyrian video for that bead plasty I did. But 99% of the time, I just iron my beads on the boards as you see here. I never had any melting or warping issues. Do you prefer ironing just one side, or do you always iron both sides? Well, that depends on the piece. If it's going to be an 8x10 or smaller, like Mini-Pix or magnets, then I'll iron both sides for extra sturdiness. It's also a lot easier to control the melting process on a scale that's small. For larger pieces, like my Simpsons house, you run the risk of having board lines or paper creases, so I'll just iron the back side, and the front will have a nice, clean, uniform look. It also makes it a lot easier to fix any little accidents that might occur, knowing that the backside won't be seen. Hi Kyle, I just wanted to ask if you've ever made any Disney Mini-Pix, and if not, could you maybe do some villains, such as Maleficent, Cruella de Vil, and Jafar? Hey, I love Disney villains! Let's make some right now, why not? Boom! The Mini-Pix universe continues to grow. What advice do you give to people who have never made their own patterns, only made projects off of sprites and other people's patterns? I think the best advice I can give is just to dive in. It's the only way to learn. I mean, there's no shortcuts if you're as particular about your patterns as I am. I have used that Dokao Perler program to get like a base pattern going for some of my portraits that involve optical color mixing. But for everything else, like animated landscapes, comic book covers, or Simpson characters... Oh wait, this ties into the next question. For example, the Simpsons 8x10s. Did you use a program or design them on the pegboards? Pegboards all the way, 1 bead at a time. It's the only way to get those nice clean lines and be completely in control of your pattern. You want to get started? Here's what you do. Imagine what the smallest detail on your subject is that you want included in your piece. That's obviously going to be 1 bead, right? Because you can't get any smaller than that. So start there and work your way out. For those Simpson characters, I always start with their pupils because I know that's going to be 1 bead. Do you collect striped beads too, or use them? Not really. I have occasionally in the past and might in the future. They've come in handy if a Mini-Pix has like a patterned shirt or something. But as I've said before, I'm really trying to stick to the solid colored beads right now. I don't like when pieces have like different sized pixels in the same piece. And the striped beads are essentially 4 tiny pixels in 1 bead. But I'll just say there are no striped beads in my drawers here or on my perler wall back there. That said, they can be good for some intricate texturing. So, as I always say, trust your eye. Can you make more sprites and 3D projects in the future? You know, that's a good question, considering I just ran down that list of a bunch of games I have yet to pay tribute to. I was looking at my videos here and realized that I haven't made a piece just using video game sprites since that Super Mario Bros. 2 piece way back in August. And that's okay. As an artist, I'm always trying to create my own patterns and do things that I haven't seen other people do before. But yeah, it's been a while. Maybe it's time to whip up some classic video game scenes again. Good suggestion. In regards to 3D pieces, I consider most of my work 3D since I use multiple layers on the canvas. But if you mean 3D as in like interlocking pieces like that Empire State Building, maybe. No plans as of yet, but we'll see. What is the most obscure show, movie, game, etc. that you would make a pattern for? Hey, if someone's commissioning me to do it, I'll make it. Nothing is off limits as long as time permits. But I will say what I consider to be my most obscure request. So there was this episode of Muppet Babies, where they imagined themselves as rock stars, and Scooter becomes John Bon Scooty, and proceeds to rock everyone's faces off with a sick guitar solo that would make Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem proud. I never would have remembered that, but someone requested JB Scooty for a gift, and there you have it. How obscure is that? Okay, last question. How do you go from hobbyist to professional? Well, that's the biggest question of all, isn't it? I'm afraid I don't have a one-sentence quick solution for you. It's kind of a culmination of everything I've ever said on this channel. Just dive in, keep creating content, keep improving, trust your eye, do things you've never seen done before, put yourself out there on social media, build your following, try having a booth at a convention, shake hands, pass out business cards, promote yourself. But remember, my friends, turning passion into profession should always be the dream, but the goal should just be to have fun. Thanks for watching. I'll see you at episode 100.